USA is already in the final, which is on Thursday. But if you missed any of it, the backdrop, we played it at the top. The two Tkachuk brothers channeling Colton and the other guy in D2. The actual live embodiment of the Bash brothers out there running around fighting people. 3 fights in the first 9 seconds. The first 2 were fine. Matt and Brady Tkachuk. Not a lot of punches landed, FYI, but they were entertaining and they were purposeful, and that's the reason there was so much buzz around this.
Did you feel like when
JT Miller got whooped in his fight?
Yeah, well, JT Miller decided to take on the biggest guy on the other side, which was an interesting tactic, but I guess he felt like he had to follow through on the text chain that they had earlier in the day. So what came out after the fact, they were like, yeah, we were on a group chat, and we were talking about how we were going to throw gloves as soon as we could. And so then he saw them doing it, so he had to do it. Fortunately, he's like next to the huge lug on Canada. But didn't you feel like when the Tkachuk brothers were throwing down, they started doing like the old school 1800s boxing stance?
Yeah.
Like they were like waving it over and being like, arr, arr, arr.
Yeah,
like it was like Popeye.
Bare knuckle brawling.
It was very weird.
Exactly. So, no, I mean, it was obviously premeditated and it was done for a spectacle, but good. That's what this thing is. And so I'm already getting chastised on the text line, 617-779-7937. Jones, 3 fights in the first 9 seconds. It's awesome. You rethinking your Four Nations take? Yes. I'm not even rethinking it. I was wrong. I was wrong about the Four Nations. I still don't get what you win at the end of the day. Like, it's not a gold medal. Is it some meaningless cut?
You take over the other country.
Yeah. So, well, that could be happening. That's true. But you get some national pride out of it. You get some bragging rights out of it. The players clearly care. It was an entertaining product. And so, yeah, I'm already wrong about the Four Nations. I already didn't expect this much buzz, this much watchability, this much interest. And most of it was generated because, we're all Neanderthals and we like watching people fight and drop the gloves. The game on top of it was well played. It's interesting because the fights really, you could make a case, hurt the U.S. in that game, which is not the full story that'll be told after the fact. The story is they went into Canada, they beat their asses, they were booing our anthem, the USA won 3-1. But what actually happened is all the fights happened. Connor McDavid blitzed through the U.S. defense, and they're up 1-0. And so you got very little momentum out of the fights. In fact, you can make the case that brought some of the Canadian fans into it before the USA righted the ship and turned around and won the game. So you can make a case all those fights were not the smartest thing for the U.S., that it hurt the U.S. in terms of actual product on the ice. But in terms of a watchability factor and the spectacle of the event, it was awesome. Yeah, so I'm already wrong about it. I am willing to bend the knee already and say I'm wrong.
Yeah, I thought it was hilarious. I don't know. Maybe I saw some people clutching their pearls a little bit, being like, "What an embarrassing product this is."
Were they Canadian?
I don't know. People on social media.
I'm guessing they were
being like,
Canadian.
"How horrifying! This is an I'm like, "Come on, this is hilarious. It's like watching Slapshot. This is great." And then McAvoy gets pantsed on the first Canadian or the only Canadian goal, and that sucked. But then he turned into a psycho for the rest of the game, so I think that was a big part of it. But yeah, I think what it has going for it is the drama, which I didn't foresee, and maybe I should have. But from we saw the anthem booing stuff happening over the last couple weeks, obviously because of real world stuff going on politically. But then at the Bell Center, you get the booing. And I guess I didn't realize in kind of like a professional wrestling sense how that was going to build up to this drama where Team USA is pissed. The Tkachuks are offended on behalf of their country. So they're coming out saying, they're texting everybody saying, we're going to make a statement when we're out there. I guess I didn't think that it was going to be that big of a throwdown from the jump. And so now I'm into it.
Well, and it was smart. It was calculated, as you pointed out, but it was smart because that's why everybody's talking. No one's talking about the U.S. beating Canada. Really, that's not really what we're talking about.
No, they're talking about like the feud,
the
drama.
When anybody's like, did you see that? They're talking about the first 10 seconds of the game. And I'm not quibbling. The hockey on top of it was excellent. It's a best-on-best tournament, which I always got. But you need the players invested. You need stakes. And I think that's what I really underestimated was the lack of stakes. You're the Four Nations winner, so what? I was hung up on that. It's an international beanpot. Like, there's good hockey in the beanpot, too. They care about winning the beanpot, but I don't really care, so I don't care about it. But I underestimated the lack of stakes and how much these guys would care and how well they would play and the emotion they'd bring to it, which is great. But that's still what everybody is talking about, what the buzz is about, and I don't know that you can replicate that. Like,
Well, you could replicate it if these two teams go against each other
Well,
in Boston.
can you? If they,
oh my God,
if they play on Thursday,
just the second most obnoxious, in a good way, obnoxious crowd in the league.
But you're going to get that again? The first 10 seconds of the game, we're going to get 3 fights again, staged?
You can manufacture it.
Do you think that's going to happen?
I don't think it's going to be that intense unless something happens. See, the format of the tournament is weird to me because it's almost like you go into these backdraw games now where the USA doesn't really have anything to play for right now. They're just getting to the final, and it's other teams trying to catch up, get their points, and get into the final. So it's kind of like the USA is taking a little bit of a backseat, and my worry there is then the heat of the moment is going to come down a little bit. We're going to come over to Boston. The heat of the moment is going to come down a little bit. But I do think if you get USA-Canada in the final, then it's going to be explosive.
No. So I just don't know how you're going to replicate that. And if you're trying to bring in people who are like, this is awesome, I got to watch it, I can't wait, I think they're going to be a little let down, quite frankly, because I don't think you can match what you saw the other night.
I think you're being a hater. I think you're pretending like you're coming back from your Four Nations is going to suck take.
Yeah.
And now you're just actually kind of doubling down and saying, I think it's not going to match.
But how do you match what you did the other day?
Maybe there's a Twitter feud that we're not following. Maybe a Twitter feud explodes.
So.
Maybe somebody makes a reel or a TikTok where they're like making fun of USA, and then the Tkachuk brothers lose their minds again.
I think part of what was great was that you don't see that often. And so I don't think you can replicate it. And I think if you're tuning in to see that again with USA-Canada, I don't think you're going to get it, but I've been wrong before. You can let me know. 617-779-7937. Assuming it is USA-Canada. USA's in the game. We'll see if Canada gets there. They're playing Finland today at 1 here at the Garden. Are we booing their anthem on Thursday? Is that what people are doing?
I personally would not. I've definitely grown out of the stage of life of booing in general. When's the last time that you actually booed something with your heart?
Oh, I mean, quite frequently. But I like in public?
In public, around strangers, where you're not
ironic. That would require me
boo.
That would require me going to things, but like in my living room, I'm booing stuff constantly.
Okay,
yeah.
It's different in your living room. You're making quite a political
stance. This dinner sucks. Boo.
In your living room in Charlestown, yeah. You're booing your kid. Yes. You walk in, boo, you didn't tie your shoes right.
Here's a good one. Our buddy John in the car in the Twitch chat says Kyrie. That's somebody who gets booed all the time.
Yeah, but I don't boo him. I know booing. It's not like booing has gone out of fashion, but I don't boo anybody. You're
not in your head. You're not booing Kyrie a little bit.
Okay, again, booing in your head is not really.
But you want to.
Like I'm booing Canada in my head because they don't want to be part of the USA. I mean, I don't think I'm going to do. Would you, if you were at the game as a fan,
boo their anthem?
Yeah.
No, I think you should do the opposite.
Well, because you're part Canadian.
I think you should do the opposite and, show you're above it. Like, if we're all upset that they're booing the anthem and then you turn around and just boo their anthem,
how do you
then you're no better.